Hello everybody and welcome to round 2 of the 3D Speed Winter 2020 series from Hockenheim. With me on commentary is Cole McRae.
Hello.
And making his commentary debut, in fact on screen right now, Ayrton Tobin.
Hello. Wow, what a loser that guy. Oh wait,
Indeed.
He's sitting right here.
We got 34 cars on track, although unfortunately Cole's internet crashed before the race, so it's effectively 33.
Kind of like Ayrton's car crashed right there.
Lost the back end. Lost the back end. So right now we're in the process of qualifying here. Mike Stofmeel at the front, Dan Bach. A very surprising effort here from amateur driver Guillermo Martinez up in third place, doing real well. Paul Riccobeni, Simeon Naku, Luciano Ichazo, Moly, Max Simmons, Wayne Hutchinson, Wesley Stokes, the top 10. Not really any surprises there. I would say Gerardo Del Valle down in 13th is a little bit odd. He's usually a bit closer to the sharp end, but he is struggling. And Ariel Zatoni, I know, is having a massive hard time with that BMW M6. He came into this race with 40 kilograms of ballast.
Ooh.
And apparently that just completely messes the M6 up.
Yeah, I would believe it. And also the Porsche seemed to got hit pretty hard with some of these ballast opportunities.
Well, this is pre the in-game ballast update. Those who are unaware, the Porsche and Mercedes AMG are getting a kind of, you could call it a ballast, I guess, but really it's just like an increase to their car weight to compensate for some performance advantages that they have over the other GT3s. There is your grid. Pending any last-minute laps here, Mike Stofmeel and Simeon Naku at the top of the pile. Dan Bach, Guillermo Martinez, Paul Riccobeni, Luciano Ichazo, Moly, Max Simmons, Wayne Hutchinson, Wesley Stokes, Zoltan Calmandi, a very solid 11th place. He's another amateur driver. Mike Jeffries, Richard Higgs, Gerardo Del Valle, Leonard Burke, good 15th. Benjamin Atamien, making his ESR debut in 16th. Michael Magus, Ariel Zatoni, Johnny Major, and I didn't get any further. So
Ayrton Tobin was next, followed by Scott Greenfield, and then by Rick Martel, Wayne Medeiros, Dixon Hurst, Douglas DeGroat, Javier Perez-Torres, and a surprising 26th, followed by Daniel Hernandez, Mauricio Delgado, John Picha, Brandon Powell, our last place pro driver. Not a great lap from him. Then David Walsh, my apologies, Toby Howard, Lucky Chop, and yours truly, Cole McRae.
Who will not join the grid. And if I do recall correctly, Rick Martel will be starting from the pit lane. Not sure if there was a reason for that, or if it just was a case of maybe he had to go to the bathroom when the qualifying was running over and he didn't get back in time to join the grid. Always possible.
What a fool. You're supposed to go in your suit when you have to go in a car.
It could also have been the wife needed something or whatever. Rick's got a family.
Oh,
so,
yeah, you can't ignore the wife.
You gotta handle stuff. See, that's why we're going through the full countdown, and
right.
there is somewhere there a
flashing.
blank spot. So we got red lights. We're with Guillermo Martinez. Here we go.
Green flag.
And they are off. Mike Stofmeel off to a great start. Simeon Naku bogged down there on the front row, and he has slipped back about 2 spots. And a little bit of a lag problem there. And contact between Paul Riccobeni and Simeon Naku pushed Naku way off the track. So unfortunate news for the Corvette driver, and Riccobeni may be looking at a penalty.
We got a Rick in the back there. Looks like Mike Magus was taken out by Ayrton Tobin, I think, if I'm recalling correctly.
No, I believe I'll be getting the penalty on that one.
Uh-oh, that's not what he said. No, I'm just kidding. He was totally agreeing with you. I just wanted to give him crap. And then Richard Higgs.
Richard Higgs on the tail of Gerardo Del Valle. Should be a good fight between these two. They're very equal drivers.
Certainly seems so.
Both are a little bit off their usual pace. Martinez went a bit live along with Riccobeni there.
Dan Bach snagging into second place. Yes, I can speak English.
Wouldn't really say that there was anything to do with Dan Bach, and more just Naku got off to an absolutely wretched start. Got left for dead.
Oh, yeah. But regardless, Dan is up in the second. Back looking at Richard Higgs, making the pass on Del Valle.
Richard Higgs gets it on Del Valle. Ariel Zatoni on the tail of that is Ayrton Tobin, battle for 14th place. Behind them is Benjamin Atamien. Douglas DeGroat in the background spinning out.
Back. Well, that's unfortunate. DeGroat always seems to catch bad fortune on some of these races. He hasn't had that great of a time. If I remember right, he had a Be abysmal last race.
To be honest, it's a little bit of his own creation. I've always said this. There are drivers that like seem to have bad luck, but when you really look into the incidents they get caught up in, there's almost always something that they're maybe not like a penalty or a violation of the rules, but there's some kind of what I like to call to the academy drivers danger zone driving, where something you're doing is exposing you to potential danger that you, in a perfect world, would get away with, but this is not a perfect world.
There is no perfect world.
There is no way you're getting away with it, sort of thing.
Exactly.
No massive moves in this one like we had at Zolder. Just looking at qualifying here, and no one really sticks out as having gained 5 or 10 spots.
Well, you got to remember at Zolder we had that glitch with the grid, with all the ADAC cars getting relegated to the back, so it really created some weird, like, pace discrepancies. So, this is a little bit more normal. Luciano Echazo going side by side with Moli Moli, battle for 5th place. Behind them is, of course, old reliable Wayne Hutchinson, and the only man who's beaten Mike Stofmeel in this series to a race victory, Wesley Stokes, in 8th place.
Hairpin. I appreciate that the official name of the hairpin is indeed hairpin.
Well, this is a German track.
It's technically the Spitzkehre hairpin, but you could easily just call it hairpin, and everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, there is Nord and SudKurve, which is North Curve and South Curve.
And then there's a couple of ones that are just named for sponsors, Mobile One and Mercedes.
Pizza?
No, that's Wayne Medeiros, sir.
Medeiros.
Those Corvettes showed some nice brute force with their speed in this track down those long straights.
Well, Simeon, of course, took front row start and just got caught up at the start, so he should be a man on the move. As that's oh no!
Oh, looks like he took. What was that?
That was Mike Jeffries, I think.
Mike Jeffries, you're right. Oh, that's not good.
So that's gonna mix things up as Jeffries. Yep, Jeffries is dropping like a stone. So that was definitely Jeffries. And
really much things up here.
There's where Simmons is recovered. He's running side by side with Brandon Powell, who's having a quiet but effective move through the grid up to 20th place. Luciano Echazo overtaking Moli Moli, who's moving very slowly.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it looks like he's definitely having some sort of problem, but either that or he just got dirty tires.
I think this week we finally have all
3 wide!
Correct.
Simeon Naku, Wayne Medeiros, oh, they were having such a close race.
I think that was Simeon, I think, trying to force his way through a little bit there.
Yeah.
I don't really think that was on. But up to 24th he goes. Mike Jeffries, 23rd. Medeiros paid the price and has slided back to 28th position. We have lost from the race Lucky Chop. And I think, I believe Leonard Burke and Javier Perez-Torres are still running despite the fact that their gap there makes it appear they are out. I think that's just a timing glitch. I know Javi did finish the race, so he's definitely still running. But Lucky Chop is gone. Lucky Chop lost a wheel on basically turn 2, so after all that hassle to get him in as a late-minute replacement for Alfonso Chacon, his race lasted about 2 corners.
So, what is Moli listed as in the app?
Moli.
Moli.
Oh, it's Moli. Okay, got it. I was looking for Moli, and I only saw Moli.
Everybody is pretty intuitive. There are some people that use different names. Benjamin Atamian, for example, is just Benjamin in Race App. But it is pretty easy to find everyone. Is it Benjamin?
It's Benjamin.
Interesting.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Moli is held on somehow. He's been
so it looks like
just
a mistake he made there that cost him 2 spots as opposed to any car problem.
Well, he did qualify 7th, so at least he's not hurting too much. Making a move on Wayne Hutchinson.
Wayne.
Oop.
Let's see here. This is
that's
Douglas DeGroat there. Indeed, somebody did.
Dixon Hurst.
Oh, Dixon. I think that's where Dixon's race ended, unfortunately.
I believe it.
Holy moly on the tail of Wayne Hutchinson still.
I just realized his team name is Holy Moly.
He is, of course, an independent entry, so he has no teammates. Brandon Powell has lost a spot since last we checked with him. I think probably to Mike Jeffries, who is a guy who's kind of out of position right now and charging back through the field, so that kind of makes sense. Simeon Naku is the other guy.
Brandon Powell?
That's Mike Jeffries ahead of them in the black and red Audi. The Oust Motorsports colors. representing VIP Racing, the all New York team. Max Simmons is another guy who's going to be trying to challenge his way back through the grid. He's fighting with Mauricio Delgado.
Group making a dive on turn 10, I believe that is.
Yeah, don't know about a dive there. He was pretty side by side. It's a pretty well thought out move, and it doesn't look like Delgado got sent into the infield or anything. So I would say clean work. And Paul Riccobeni on the tail of current Pro-Am leader Guillermo Martinez up into second place. What happened to Dan Bach? He slipped back to fourth.
Yeah, looks like he had.
There was a little spin in there.
And of course, Mike Stofmeel leading the way. Looks like there's a lapped car in there that appeared to be a red Corvette, which would be Leonard Burke. Michael Jeffries making an overtake on teammate Dave Walsh. I imagine he will be rather accommodating of his pro teammate.
Let's hope.
As
Dave
Walsh, of course, an amateur.
Guillermo Martinez.
Martinez still in second. Man.
Martinez has got speed. His problem is his amateur status more has to do with racecraft than raw pace, although he showed really, really well at Zolder, too. Picked up a 4th place in the feature race there.
Ah, crap.
So,
Big Higgs is in 11th. We can't have that. I'll never hear the end of it from Matt.
Daniel Hernandez and Johnny Major squabbling. That's the other VIP Audi.
Ayrton
Tobin coming to a virtual standstill there.
He just had a complete reversal of that last 3. That could have been kind of messy if
Major going down the inside of Mobile 1 and makes the pass stick. That is for 13th place. Scott Greenfield in the mix there as well, in the yellow Mercedes, and just behind him is Max Simmons. So watch out for Simmons, the pink Audi. Is probably the danger man. Javier Perez Torres off the track there. I believe Javi at this point is down a lap. He was forced to pit early to repair some damage.
He still had some sustained damage, to my knowledge, throughout the race, which made it very difficult.
Oh, indeed, I did as well. My transmission and engine was fucked up from lap 1 onwards.
Yeah, that'll happen. Yeah, Javi P, he can either have a really good day or a really bad day. Never seems to be just kind of a... how to race, and it was generally pretty good.
Simeon Naku still struggling to make his way through the grid. He's on the tail of that's Mauricio Delgado and Mike Jeffries.
These guys have been battling for a while. I think they've gone back and forth a couple of times.
Jeffries and Naku have been pretty together after their accidents, and are kind of maybe need to declare a little bit of a truce there and work their way through the field.
Looks like they're going to be starting to hold up. Oh, looks like Delgado got by and Naku is by again. Wonder when Walsh is going to start getting caught up in this. Of course, our timing is still completely foobar.
Yeah, that is unfortunately the case. It is not a 22-second gap between Stofmeel and Martinez, for example. As you can see, it's rapidly decreasing again. So, Scott Greenfield a little bit wide there. Ayrton Tobin with an option. A little nudge.
Bump. Oh, Greenfield can't hold it. Oh, that didn't look too bad to me. I couldn't see any foul play there. It looked kind of just like a racing incident. I guess we'll wait and see who
looked like a little bit of a hack down, but I can't imagine that will draw too much attention from the stewards if it was reported.
It looked kind of just like racing to me.
Max Simmons on the tail of Tobin now. I would say Simmons probably a fair bit faster. Of course, a top 10 qualifier, so he's running in 60.
Looks like he's about to go wide a little bit.
Luciano Ichazo!
Luciano and Bach.
Blinking in and out of existence. So some connection issues for Luciano. Not surprising. Luciano is one of our South American drivers.
Down the board. It's like
that's Calmondi.
Calmondi's got a connection problem, and I think might be out of the race.
No good.
So Richard Higgs on the attack against Ariel Zatoni. Zatoni's up to 9th place after all the complaining about the BMW. He's got a decent run going.
That was going to be my excuse if I didn't do well in the race.
So Simeon Naku has gotten ahead of Mike Jeffries. So Naku making progress. If I recall correctly on comms, that was actually Jeffries giving the spot to Naku because he was holding him up and thus holding himself up in the fight. Oh, that's Zatoni is spun around in the BMW. Very solid debut from Benjamin Atamian, who is up, or Benjamin Atamian, who is up to 12th place, doing real well in that BMW.
Has Simmons decided which he likes being called better yet?
His name is Simmons, but he
Simmons,
encourages
Simons.
he encourages us to do whatever we want with his
My
name.
favorite is Siemens.
Siemens is a good one. Byron likes that one.
Yeah, I know he does. Aaron would like Siemens. Tell him I said that, unless he watches this video.
Daniel Hernandez on the tail of... Daniel Hernandez having a good 3D Speed debut. Not his ESR debut. He has been in a couple of Academy races. As I can't remember he's been in any of the main series. Oh, no, he was in the Enduro race. So this is not his
Dan Bach
debut.
climbing his way back up to
Yeah,
fourth.
he's spun, but he's catching back up to that front pack.
Indeed. Well, I think Luciano is kind of having some connection issues, so that's going to make it interesting. Paul Riccobeni back to 10th place. So something happened to Paul that we missed on the tail of Richard Higgs.
Wait, he's latched on to the elder Higgs. Oh, Simeon Naku
Simeon
making a
passed
pass
Tobin.
on Ayrton Tobin.
Can confirm that was also letting Naku by.
I'm sure.
Alright.
Whatever you say, but
Okay, when a
No,
foul guy's coming,
I'm
guy
just giving you crap.
who started on the front row doesn't appear to have any actual damage to the car. I would not spend a lot of time arguing with Mr. Simeon Naku at this point. So his next target will be Hernandez.
Oh. I don't know why I went, we just got a little bit close there. I thought something exciting was going to happen. Nipples got
Paul
all hard.
Riccobeni still on the tail of Richard Higgs. Grande Higgs.
Taking all of those corners, that can be a bit of a dangerous strategy considering how unstable those few corners are.
yes, I refer to that turn as the big scary curb turn.
I personally feel that most of the turns here are big, scary curve turns, but that's just because I don't like Hockenheim very much.
We'll have to see what Ayrton Tobin does, because you still have Jeffries and Zatoni, who are probably faster drivers than you on the tail. At least they outqualified you considerably. So, might be still there. Michael Magus in the background there with some battle damage and a drive-through penalty. I just cut the triangle by the pit lane entrance.
Yeah.
And that is apparently an auto drive-through.
Place to cut.
Save it for the judge.
Oh, I mean, there's no judge. I got the drive-through penalty. That's
Yeah.
all there is to it. The judge has already rendered his verdict, effectively.
Riccobeni trying to make a pass attempt on Richard Higgs. Not gonna happen.
Nice withdrawal there.
Yeah, good choice to withdraw. That could have been very messy.
And in fairness to everything, at this point, I'm not racing anybody. It's very much we are just looking to get what points I can get, and that's about it.
Yeah, I believe you. Yeah.
Oh, it is. I'm down a lap to everyone except for Javier.
No problem. Just kidding. Man, our stalwart, Wayne Hutchinson, not giving Moley any room. This could be an interesting battle we're seeing. Although here's Higgs and Riccobeni again.
Well, now that Riccobeni's gotten past Higgs, I do wonder if the Mercedes might be able to leave the Callaway for dead a little bit. I know Paul was complaining about the speed in the straightaways,
Like
which
Jeffries
apparently
making a move on Tobin. Naku already got by, but Tobin isn't going to let him by so easily.
Tobin is holding up, and
This portion's
Naku is
gonna be
running
very
away with
wide.
it.
Yep, Jeffries can't be super happy about that just because the competition is Naku, and I'm sure.
Well, I think
Tobin
at this
isn't
point,
meaning
I
to,
think at
but-
this point, Jeffries is not even viewing Naku as the competition because, to be honest, he let Naku through, knowing that he really couldn't match her pace. I think he'd like to get up with Hernandez and Atamian.
Good point.
And of course, he would probably like to get Ariel Zatoni off his back in the
That
big
would probably be
BMW.
nice as well. I love that livery. Is that an ADAC livery?
That's an ADAC livery, yeah.
So did we figure out the problem with the ADAC?
Oh,
qualifying?
it was quite simple. It was treating the ADAC as a different class. That's
Right.
what it
Did
was.
we figure out the solution though?
I uninstalled the
looking up the
server.
inside Jeffries.
There's Jeffries going for it in a turn
That's a tricky
one.
pass.
Clench your butt.
That butt is firmly clenched. Ooh.
And no harm.
Meanwhile, Zatoni almost
Zatoni's-
took Jeffries out too.
Zatoni's would be like, gentlemen, if you could please see yourselves into contact, I would happily
Yes.
accept the positions.
Exactly. Oh, they look. We're going kind of 2.5-ish wide, more like.
Mm-hmm.
Is there? Oh, there he is. He was just behind Tobin.
Jeffries going for it. He's on the
outside
outside. He's on the outside of the hairpin, though. I
That's
don't think this is a
really-
play.
Yeah, it's gonna be a dangerous one at best.
Oh,
and
maybe.
I
That Audi is very quick in a straight line.
don't-
Nope.
No, it's not
Nope.
happening. Oh, everyone's
Oh,
getting a little squirrely. Oh,
There we go. It did work.
Zatoni. Oh, wow, look at that. Everyone's getting kind of
Jeffries
squirrely.
got the
Tobin
job
isn't
done.
happy. He's flashing
Yep, little
headlights.
flash of the headlights. Dave Walsh battling with, I was
Max
probably not
Simmons.
battling. That's Max Simmons coming back through the grid.
Yep, he's just taking up those positions. Simeon Naku again, fighting Daniel Hernandez.
Indeed, Hernandez next on his list. Daniel's a very competent driver. Been really impressed with him in the academy, so let's see what he can do here.
Got a little glimpse of him in the academy. He seems very consistent.
He still has some issues with over pushing, so there's some things to learn, but I think he's going to be a real solid driver.
Once you teach him
relatively
how to,
quickly.
once you teach him the time-honored technique of putting him in the wall, I think he could be a great driver.
That's not my job to teach. That's Travis and Byron's job.
Oh, okay. Get on him, Jesus.
Paul Riccobeni has caught up to Dan Bach, who's back to 8th place. So Bach has had potentially some more problems because he's dropped behind Moly Moly, Wayne Hutchinson, Gerardo Delvale, and Wesley Stokes. By the way, the two row Porsches of Delvale and Stokes running together, so that's interesting teamwork.
Yeah.
Gerardo's had a really solid race, actually. Started P13. I was commenting that he was a little bit low on the grid, and he's up to P6.
Yeah.
So showing that class and ability to handle traffic very well. Ariel Zatoni on the tail of Ayrton Tobin. This is another pro versus AM driver battle.
Looks like he wants to grab that position back. Naku making the dive.
Bit of a dive there.
And
Did not
Zatoni
work.
the same.
Yeah, everyone's diving today.
Looks like Zatoni's move stuck.
Looks
Tony's
like
move did stick.
Hope everyone brought their scuba diving gear.
All right, here we go. Naku with a
Naku making
more
another-
conventional move there and
There we
gets the
go.
job done.
Starting to get his rhythm and really slice his way forward.
It only took freaking 35 minutes.
And next up is going to be Benjamin Atimian and then Johnny Major at the front of this pack. Major might prove a bit of a challenge. He's always a stalwart defender and a relatively fast driver in his own right.
Dan
Paul
Buck back in
Riccobeni.
8th. Something
Paul
happened.
Riccobeni on the toe.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, to
Bach is
complete-
back down to 8th.
Yeah, we commented on that earlier. I think possibly another spin or contact with somebody. Don't think we saw it on screen. Guillermo Martinez is still in 2nd place. Hell of an amateur run.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
They are
Like,
catching up
no
to
one-
the lapped Audi of Michael Magus. There's Wesley Stokes and his teammate Gerardo Delvale.
I mean,
They're
no one
making
was
it
really
through.
expecting him to make an attempt on Mike Stofmeel, but he's having a hell of a run. That's Guillermo.
Indeed. Paul Riccobeni still on the tail of Dan Bach. These two qualified really close together and have not had a great race.
Seems like
So an
Benny
interesting
has the
scrap
lead
for
off on
me.
Bach. Yeah, sure enough, going side by side.
Going
into
down
hairpin.
inside on the hairpin.
Simmons.
Simmons getting
Simmons
kind of
and Mauricio.
argy-bargy with Delgado.
No kidding. I was gonna say that didn't look kosher.
Riccobeni got the job done against Bach and is up to 8th place.
Meanwhile, Simmons trying to take the position back.
Should be able to do it relatively easily here, although
But
he's
we
going to have
won't
to go
get to
around
see
the
it.
outside of the hairpin there.
Benetino
There's
versus
Simeon
Naku.
Naku. Atimian drops to 13th. Still pretty good solid result for
Ooh,
him.
terrible run out of that turn, but it looks like he won't. Damien won't have the ability to capitalize
Up
on
to
it.
12th, just 2
Meanwhile-
spots away from that all-important 10th.
Again, Simmons
Simmons.
versus Delgado.
Simmons
Back and
should
forth
be able
yet
to get
again.
this. Yeah,
Well,
that
yeah.
should end it.
Yeah, there's no way anyone's going to get too good of a run at more than anyone else over that set of corners there.
So next up for Simmons is Ayrton Tobin.
Got quite a ways to go, but it could happen.
Good
Got
up. He's
10
got
minutes
9 minutes, almost 10 minutes, yeah.
That is one scrunched Audi.
Indeed. That is my Audi, actually.
That doesn't look fun.
No, at this point it was driving
Maybe it looks
fine.
like a lot of fun, depending.
I'd fixed it. It's just one of those cases of race room not repairing
I know.
the body
Rare
model.
Stofmeel sighting.
Wow.
Indeed. Virtual
What-
Drivers
what-
by TX3 is his team.
What
which,
place is he in?
First place.
Oh,
As
wow.
always.
I didn't expect that.
Luciano Ichazo on the charge.
Chazo not super keen to give up his position to the amateur driver Martinez, but it's
It's one of the better runs Ichazo has had as
Yeah, I
well.
was gonna say, it's not too bad.
Ichazo is generally speaking a top 10 kind of guy, but the podium's usually a little bit out of his reach, but he's getting it done today. Simeon's now up on Johnny Major, so that's next up for him. Johnny Major having a much cleaner day than at Zolder. He was one of the ones who had an opening round to forget.
Oh, Mike Magus taking a little off-road journey. This is Hockenheim, not Dakar, Mike.
Hey, letting the leaders through.
I'm just kidding.
Also, I'm a little bit slow in all the straightaways with the transmission and engine damage.
Who is that?
That's Leonard Burke.
Yeah, Burke. Well,
Leonard
still
Burke
holding
off
on.
track. Paul Riccobeni now up on the tail of Wesley Stokes.
Where did Stokes come from?
Stokes has been pretty much in the top 10 all day. 7th place. Benjamin Atimien off the track in the background there. Looks like he might also be having some connection issues. Loses a spot to Jeffries and Zatoni.
Well, Chazo's still on the hunt. He's got his eyes on the prize.
Like Stofmeel here was really using up all that track to get that speed. After a Zolder race where he had 0 laps invalidated, 21% of his laps here were invalidated, so...
Wow.
Not too bad. What's that? 4 out of 4 to 19, if I recall correctly?
4. Not too bad, I'll consider. Not quite 0 we've seen in the past.
Oh, seldom will use
Wayne
C0.
Hutchinson in 4th did have 0 invalidated laps.
Wow.
Hey, no spoilers. Wayne's only in 5th.
Miku making him pass on Johnny Major. Going to the outside for hairpin. Oh, and Major lets him have it. Smart choice.
Yeah. Major thinking probably discretion, better part of valor. After that bad Zolder round, he just needs to secure decent results here.
I can attest to that. Next target is Higgs, but he's quite some ways back. Oh, Tobin getting the bad end of a deal with Max Simmons. What happened there?
Would have to ask Ayrton.
I'm staring at him.
Blanking here.
Blanking?
Blanking? Alright.
Blank memory.
Yeah, whatever.
Paul
his nose or something.
Paul Riccobeni up on the tail of Wesley Stokes. I want to say this is the battle for top American honors, actually, in this race.
It is. According to the little diagram on the left there.
I mean, Wayne Hutchinson is an American resident, but born in Canada.
Tobin lost it. Oh, no.
Indeed he did. Losing spots to Brandon Powell. Losing spots to Scott Green or Dave Walsh. Down to 21st place. Not a great second half of the race here for Ayrton.
Really, the entire bad company has
Ichazo has gotten second place away from the AM leader, Guillermo Martinez, but he's still on the podium.
Yeah, still on the podium. And he hasn't given up. Martinez hasn't ceded that much, although... Oh, I'm just trying to look at the timing. I forget that's a losing battle.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I think that's probably accurate what we're getting right now.
Yeah, he hasn't given up too much ground.
Probably won't... It's now getting inaccurate.
he could still be in this battle.
Finally back in 3rd. I wish we could have
dive!
Oh, no!
Martinez, buddy! Oh, just outbroke.
Just outbroke himself.
They had a big gap behind them, though. I don't think that's enough.
Well, Molly's reeling in definitely. Not too hard, but it might.
You also got to worry about damage to the front end of his Porsche.
Riccobeni still on Stokes' butt. The Tony now fighting with Jeffries.
That's Jeffries. That fight's been going on for a while. Yep. that's not new. We'll see what they can do. Wesley Stokes has lost his battle with Paul Riccobeni, but still might have a counterattack.
Going off track.
Walk back to 9th.
That's Guillermo Martinez back to 9th place.
Yeah.
So
is up to 8th. Oh, Higgs.
Martinez losing his spot to Higgs.
Promising run for Martinez.
Yeah.
Still good. Yeah. Still the top AM man. He just needs to settle down and get it going.
Yeah, he doesn't have much competition from the rest of his AM Patriots.
The next AM car is Atimien in 15th spot, so still a pretty decent cushion there.
Tony having a look at Jeffries, but smartly choosing to stay back a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Stokes is quite able to stay with Riccobeni. That gap
he has quite a bit of
starting to grow. I think that's just what the Porsches look like. I kind of was thrown off by that too the first time I was working with. I think that's just the Porsche.
Oh. Man, I miss the old roughs, the RT12s.
Hey, they're still here. Just can't buy them.
They're just slow as balls.
Yeah,
I got a couple. They're just slow.
They are not an advisable car to run at this point. It's really just the 8-ax and the Porsches that are worth taking out right now, which is a little disappointing because the 650 McLaren should probably be up there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that a lot of these cars should be in different classes. I mean, yeah, technically they are called GT3s, but I thought the point of the class system was to have them all be similar to that.
It is well, I mean, you can do what we did with the legacy idea. That's Simmons going past Atamian.
Now, are Jeffries and Major teammates or just sharing a similar livery?
They are teammates. It's the two of them and Dave Walsh. They make up VIP Racing. The all New York team.
Otherwise known as Team... Hey, I'm walking over here!
Scott Greenfield on the tail of Dave Walsh, which is actually the third member of the VIP crew. And on their tail, that is Brandon Powell, followed by Tobin in the two Bad Company Porsches. Douglas DeGroat has had an interesting race and is on the tail of... Wonder what happened to Daniel Hernandez, back to 23rd place now.
I was looking at Hernandez. Well, he's had a very bad last few laps. It's a shame.
Gerardo Del Valle now up into the top 5. That's because of Martinez's mishap.
Yep.
As he puts a lap on one of the three amigos.
So Tony has made quite some distance on Simmons, now on the hot on the heels of Mike Jeffries.
He's been a hot
in the background.
Don't quote me here, but I think Hernandez spun in Sachs.
Well, Tony's been on Jeffrey's tail for like the last 10 laps or so. That's been a long...
I must have been thinking of something else.
That's a long simmering... not too many. I think we only got 2 running, actually. Tony and Atamian.
Making me look bad here, Mike.
I think it's actually the least common car on the grid.
Yeah, I guess so. Yep, that's right. Damn it.
We're, of course, missing a couple of them. Atamian's teammates, both of them. Guillermo Taylor and Juan Borge, not here today. Taylor is on vacation. Not sure what kept Borge away, but not present.
A couple of those BMWs teaming up together could make for a good team.
Yeah, Ayrton and I were just talking about me and, who is it? Zatoni? Is that Tony?
I mean, Zatoni would be ideal. He's a platinum driver.
Yeah. Gotta make those connections.
With only 2, not much would be gained, but nothing would be lost.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, you can find a third one. I know Josiah Jerome wants to run an BMW, but he is very part-time and unfortunately has some technical issues right now. Yeah. Dan Block is caught up to the back of Wesley Stokes and is looking to take position there.
Very close. Give him a little nudge.
Is there going to be another lap? This might be the last lap here.
Unfortunately, with no idea of how far Stofmeel is ahead, I cannot say.
I think Stofmeel will probably give everyone another lap.
Problem is, we need to know where he is on the track.
And I'm just conjecturing, but I think that he's probably gonna make the lap in 30 seconds.
Stokes held up Bach there. Pretty good day for the row Porsches, 5th and 7th place at the moment. There's Brandon Powell on the tail of Scott Greenfield.
Good fight here.
Scott Greenfield.
Powell having
too much of him.
Powell having a bit of a rough day. He's the lowest ranking pro driver at the moment, which is never a great feeling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, someone had to be. Ooh, making us. We don't get to see what happens.
Don't get to see it because we've gone to Dan Bach, the other Bad Company Porsche.
Yep.
Currently on the tail of Wesley Stokes.
So it looks like there should be one more lap.
Yep, I thought so. Now we get to see Scott Greenfield. Hey, it looks like Dan Bach
Brandon Powell got it. A little close there.
Greenfield not too keen on letting him just take that spot and run with it, but I don't think he's got much choice.
I don't know, I've kind of noticed it's just Dan Bach! Backwards! Richard Higgs up a spot, and Guillermo Martinez up a spot, and Simeon Naku up a spot.
This whole race has played out like one giant Price is Right losing sound from Dan Bach. Oh, Mike Magus? Back there?
I believe I am on a cooldown lap, actually.
Oh. Well, I don't see a checkered flag, so whatever. I do see a German flag, though. Is that what they wave instead of a checkered flag?
Well, the problem is I'm down a lap, so sometimes it triggers the checkered flag for the lapped cars a bit early. So.
Forgot about that. Oh, someone making a pass on someone else that I didn't get to see because it took like 0.3 seconds.
No, I'm not dropping back, so I'm definitely still driving.
There we go. Richard Higgs.
Richard Higgs working on Guillermo Martinez.
Hey, all is not lost. Martinez, I mean, he's hanging around back up there.
Yeah. Higgs backs
Well, he
off.
Maybe night.
only dropped to about 10th place at his worst, so having a very solid run.
Like
Be interesting right now is
giving the old happy flashy to his teammate.
Yeah.
Indeed. Scott Greenfield still trying to get around. That's Powell, isn't it? Yeah, nice move.
Yeah, no.
Although he may have overshot the hairpin.
Not giving it up so easily. They're side by side. Going into turn 7.
This is, however, where that Mercedes is pretty powerful. So I'd imagine he can hold it through here. The question would be, never mind.
Powell makes the dive.
Too hot.
Oh, it wasn't gonna happen.
Almost a beautiful move.
Richard Higgs.
I was gonna say Powell was probably better off waiting for Sachs as a good chance for an overtake, but tried to force the issue and it did not go well. That is Rick Martel
Brandon Powell
holding on against Powell.
Oh, down to 22nd. That is not a good turnout.
Not a good result.
On the white again. Oh, barely holding on.
Indeed. And I believe this is the part where Ariel Zatoni has run out of gas.
Oh no. Guillermo Martinez pushing him.
Is that his...
Hey, he's giving him a boost.
It's not his teammate, but it is a buddy of his.
It's Delgado, okay.
Oh,
and Tobin.
That's what happened.
Tobin ruins a good time. Good job, buddy. Man, that guy's never
still trying. He's still trying.
Friendship.
Mauricio Delgado gets Ariel Zatoni across the line.
You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm crying here, tears of joy.
I'm crying tears of beer.
Daniel Hernandez. Probably could have been a better race for him, but 24th, I'm sure he's not going to be too angry about that for his debut. Mike Stofmeel leads the way.
Won?
Luciano Echazo, Moly, Wayne Hutchinson, Gerardo Del Valle, Paul Riccobeni, Wesley Stokes, Guillermo Martinez, Richard Higgs, Simeon Naku. Could be interesting. The two Project Zora boys are on the front row for race number 2, so we'll see if they can work some teamwork. And although the way Naku started race number 1, I think the first hurdle is going to be overcoming that problem.
And well, I don't know. I think Naku might have gotten our hard charger award. He started in 16th, or no, sorry.
He started second, but he dropped back to dead last. He
dropped
to
the very back.
Who was I looking at then? I was looking at someone that made a really good rush. Oh, I was looking in reverse. Oops, I was looking in reverse. My bad.
All right, grid forming up. It's going to be all blue Corvettes at the front.
It is definitely important to have some teamwork here. I mean, going too wide into turn 1 is never good.
Yeah, well, the problem problem for Project Zora is just that after that start Naku had in the first race, he's just got to get off the line.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what he can do here. Red lights. We're down to 31 cars, by the way, having lost Lucky Chop and Scott Greenfield. Here we go.
And we are already 7 wide.
That's a bad start from both the Corvettes on the front row.
Richard Higgs picking up. Oh, we lost some cars.
We had that in the first race as well. Unfortunately, I think that just may be the internet going tap out.
Yeah. Oh,
gotta point out, while the other turns is a little messy, turn 1 on both laps was remarkably clean.
I was gonna say no one died yet, or in turn 2 yet so far.
Turn 2, I think there was some over-aggression, but the amount of carnage was actually pretty limited, which is nice.
It was, but everyone was being extremely careful turn 1 in both races. It was a pretty sight.
Richard Higgs, that terrible start. I wonder if the Callaways just haven't figured out how to get off the line, because that's a couple of races now in a row with just bad starts for the Callaway crew.
Whoa, was it Mike Jeffries?
That was Simon.
I think it was Simons.
They're the same car in there right next to each other.
Luciano Echazo off to not a great start, battling with Dan Bach.
Dan Bach.
Oh no!
Echazo getting the bad end of that deal. We got Wayne Medeiros.
I think that was Zoltan Kalmandi.
Oh, Dave Walsh. Oh, what is going on here? I didn't even know anymore. John Picha. We haven't seen him yet.
Wait a minute.
Someone's around.
Someone's going around back there.
It's like an MMR land Audi.
Yep. What is that? Is that Simmons?
No, that was Martel.
It's Martel. Yeah. Mike Stofmeel up to 8th place from 10th on the grid, on the tail of Moly.
Oh, Moly's giving him a little bit of a rolling roadblock here.
Just ahead of them, that's Richard Higgs.
Oh,
and in the background is Dan Bach.
And Stofmeel do it up the inside.
Oh,
Going for the inside.
Looks like that's gonna have it.
Michael Magus making an overtake on somebody.
Doug DeGroat.
Doug DeGroat got it back. Oh, I was allowing him pass because I had overtaken him under yellow flags. That's what it was.
Sure, all these guys up front are just trying to get away. You know that Stofmeel's coming.
Yeah.
We got the rows running together again. Del Val and Stokes.
Clear the track. Stofmeel's coming.
It's a shame that there isn't a third row car for their third teammate.
RVP.
Javi P and Michael
there
Magus battling it out for 21st.
In this game.
These two had disastrous race ones, finishing 27th and 28th. So
yeah.
They're probably happy just to be fighting over 21st right now.
It's an improvement definitely, to be sure. Brandon Powell trailing him slightly.
And David Walsh back there as well in a red, or not a red and black and red Audi.
Shout out to Toby Howard, sticking to 25th, not letting anyone have too much room. Good on him.
He is the top man for the three amigos this round.
Definitely making some improvements. Bach, 9th.
So Stofmeel got past Mole. He's up to 7th. And now it'll be Dan Bach's turn to try to get that job done.
Ooh, whack-a-mole.
Guillermo Martinez, by the way, the amateur driver, still leading the race. After profiting off of the bad starts of the Callaways at the front.
Oh, Ariel Zatoni getting caught up with Johnny Major. That was...
Zatoni was around those two black Audis just all event long between both races.
It was pretty much fighting Jeffries until he ran out of gas in race 1 and going down the inside of Johnny Major.
Making it happen.
Get the
pretty
spot
easy.
there.
Pretty easy.
And one of the rows has dropped back. That's Gerardo, so something's happened to Gerardo. He's dropped back to 8th.
Like it. Well, we got to pass Mike Stofmeel making his way up, trying to get by Richard Higgs. The hairpin, it's gonna connect.
It's got the job. Little bit of contact between Bach and Del Valle. Nothing too bad.
A little bit of.
It's mostly just that row livery, I think, that makes the Porsches look all damaged for some reason.
Yeah, it looks like there's parts missing, honestly. Oh, Dan Bach going on the inside of Mole. That was
going on the inside of Moley.
That could have been hairy, but it wasn't.
That could have been. I'm sure the executives of Porsche were not happy about that possibility.
Oh yeah, exactly. That would have been not amazing. Well, would have been amazing, but not.
Of course, a confusing moment for Gerardo Del Valle right now because, of course, Moley is running his teammate's livery, and it's like, but Moley is not my teammate.
Yeah, exactly. You can see that meme with the superhero swiping his forehead.
That is
Tony
Jeffries fighting with. No,
Mike,
it's Jeffries, I think.
No, it's Major.
It's Major. Okay, so Johnny.
But Zatoni was just on the rails through third sector in that BMW.
Well, that's what the BMWs can. The BMWs are very strong in Sector 3. We're not really want to fight with them there.
Shout out to Sector 3.
Simeon Naku on the tail of Guillermo Martinez, and that is Paul Riccobeni in third place, who we've not really said anything about, but has had a pretty decent start to this race.
They are neck and neck.
There.
Yeah, there's no room.
Of course, those three are hearing a certain Jaws theme right now.
Yeah, exactly. As Stofmeel approaches ominously in the background. Can they hold it for 10 more minutes? Simeon
going for it.
Martinez making the pass for the lead.
Got the job done. I'd say Martinez just made a mistake there because he did not get through there well.
Riccobeni's having a look too. He's not going to connect. Porsche's pulling away slightly. Maybe just let him have it, but... I think Paul Riccobeni's just counting his turns, counting them all.
Well, I know also Paul was complaining about the Mercedes' ability to get out of turns, so that could also be the problem.
Three guys fighting amongst themselves, only a small gap back to Stofmeel, 9 minutes to go.
Good.
I think the gambler would play solve their chips on Stofmeel at this point.
Exactly. They're not making it hard for Stofmeel. We'll just put it that way.
Indeed. Dave Walsh.
Fighting Brandon Powell. Powell again down to 22nd. Well, he's been there for the last few laps.
Up to 22nd in this case, let's say.
No, I thought he finished 22nd in race 1, so he's actually smack dab where he started.
I'm comparing it to past results.
The Bad Company crew was much more on the pace at Zolder, that's for sure.
Well,
they were the team to beat. Dave Walsh. Man, Brandon Powell not able to pull away from Dave Walsh.
I was just gonna say, and Javi P is right on there
Javi P
too.
on there too.
Not letting him have any breathing room.
Could just mean that Dave Walsh is really hooked up today, because I think he had a pretty decent race 1 too. So maybe Dave Walsh just showing some Wayne Hutchinson. One of the that's Del Valle off, and also going through is Max Simmons. Ooh, Del Valle might have something to say about this into the hairpin though.
I don't know. I think he probably should think twice before doing that. Oh, Simmons going on the inside of Wayne Hutchinson.
The other thing is also, I don't think anyone should really expect to get past Simmons at the hairpin, because he has been the man on the late breaks there.
Oh yeah, I mean also the hairpin is just...
Bad Company might have just eaten some bad spoiled pasta at their team dinner the night before the race. Which we all know they hold at the finest restaurant in Paris.
Only
the
finest restaurants.
Only the finest Olive Gardens, yes.
Fortunately, it was spoiled, so they're gonna lose some ratings in the future.
Somebody off the track there. I think that was Ariel's... Is it Tony?
Oh,
yep, it is Ariel.
Tony, no!
Something's very wrong with that car.
Looks like the BMW might be broken. Again, Powell is not able to get away from these two amateur Audi drivers.
Yeah, I mean, David Walsh is hot on the heels. I mean, he had a bad braking zone, but it was...
Don't see anything wrong with that BMW, but maybe suspension.
Oh, he's going to the pits, so he's got something wrong.
Martinez having a really bad off. What happened?
I think that...
Down to 10.
Yeah. Happened again to him.
Oh, man. Well, you know what happens to the best of us. It's a shame he wasn't able to make more of it. Stofmeel.
Mike Stofmeel. On the tail of his arch nemesis, Paul Riccobene.
Riccobene having a terrible turn, too.
Oh, running.
Indeed.
Stofmeel's going to have no problem taking advantage of that.
Wesley Stokes having another good sprint race, by the way, up to 4th place. He was, of course, the winner at Zolder in the sprint.
Very good at taking advantage of that reverse grid on those sprint races.
Well, he's in kind of that perfect area where he'll probably finish, like, you know, in that, like, maybe 6th to 8th region.
Mm-hmm. And, Valley making a pass on Max Simmons. Oh, not happening. Stofmeel. Paul Riccobene not wanting to give it up to him, saying, "You've had enough." Oh, not quite. Cut it a little bit short. See if we can try and get it back.
Actually, I believe 2 out of the 3 former champions of 3D Speed on the grid here today are Mike Stofmeel and Paul Riccobene.
Well, the Valley got passed by Simmons
is real quick. He's just gotta narrow down the mistakes, frankly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he's up to 8. Nice comeback here.
Big hot on the tail of Wesley Stokes.
Making a nice little comeback from that poor start.
Yeah. Definitely. Maybe position for podium even.
They had a disastrous Zolder, but Zora is they're coming on strong.
No, Project Zora is a real solid team. Simeon Naku, Richard Higgs, these are guys who've been top runners for a couple of seasons here. Simeon Naku, of course, the most infamous amateur loophole of all time. Winning every amateur race in his debut season. To the point where I think after round 3, all the amateur drivers are like, so the title is not in our grasp.
Yeah, exactly. You look at this guy. See this guy.
And here's Guillermo Martinez. Speaking of amateur dominance, Guillermo Martinez, top amateur driver once again.
Still up in 10th, but he's hot on the heels of De Valle.
And Stokes holding off Higgs for now.
Didn't Higgs get by him?
Yeah, but it looked like maybe Stokes went down the inside there into the hairpin. Dan Bach having a rough race on the tail of Johnny Major right now.
Been not too far behind. Bad boys stick together.
Shout out to Benjamin Atimien, who's doing real well again.
Real wide into Mercedes.
Looks like we've lost Ariel Zatoni, Dixon Hurst, Luciano Achazzo, and Zoltan Kalmandi so far.
So that must have been damage that Zatoni took that one turn.
Either that or he decided not to. Well, it had to be damage. We saw him go into the pits. So
Is that Riccobene?
That was Riccobene. Riccobene off. No, Paul.
He got a little stuck there in the gravel as well.
It could also just be waiting for a chance to rejoin safely, of course. Here at ESR, we do promote the idea that you must rejoin safely.
Yeah, there. Speaking of which, there he is, rejoining very safely, but very slowly. Oh, that's tragic.
So,
Biggs wanting to take back this position.
Wesley Stokes is really making a bit of a train here for this final podium spot.
What happened? Who fell back from third? It was Rickabenny, right?
It was Rickabenny, yeah. So we've got Wesley Stokes leading a train that includes Richard Higgs, Wayne Wayne Hutchinson, Max Simmons, Gerardo Delvell, and
Guillermo Martinez. You know, so all of a sudden Higgs finds himself in the position to possibly take a podium.
Someone flew back because Martinez is up to 9th. What happened? It's Wesley.
It's Wesley Stokes.
It's Wesley.
Oh, no.
Where is he?
What happened?
No, Wesley's in third.
Okay, it's not Wesley. So Wesley, Higgs, Moley, Hutchinson, Simmons, Delvell. Who is it that we're missing?
I don't know. I kind of want to know though.
We definitely lost a car. It would suggest a connection problem because I think we lost like a car, period. Like we're down to 31 cars being displayed.
No, we started with 31, I believe.
Yeah.
I thought we started with 32. I don't know, but someone is definitely missing. Looking for who it is. Somebody dropped back.
Could be.
Don't know who. John Picha battling with Leonard Burke.
Rickabenny
Burke will get that done.
I don't.
Yeah, well, beyond Rickabenny, because we were talking about how Martinez was in 10th place, and now he's in 9th. And it's not Jeffries he overtook, because Jeffries was already behind him.
That is a sad-looking Corvette.
Yeah, another damaged Corvette. Leonard Burke is another example of that. Maybe a driver who needs to get that spidey sense about when he's in danger a little bit. Not always his fault, to be clear. I'm not saying he's never the victim. But there is that kind of saying that if you're always running with a damaged car because someone hit you, you may need to just take a look at what you're doing, and there might be something incorrect.
Well, Higgs still on the tail of Wesley Stokes, but this time Moley's been thrown into the mix. Moley making a pass on the outside.
Moley looking to take both of them.
Wide. Oh, this could be very dangerous, but he's
got Higgs.
Stokes makes a mistake on the hairpin. My apologies for yelling.
And after all that workup, we have the exact same order.
Yep. I forgot. I got excited. That was potentially really exciting. I almost thought Moley could take both of them, but sadly wasn't to be. Meanwhile, Richard Higgs, and now we have Wayne Hutchinson thrown into the mix now.
Well, Hutchinson's been there. Like this train's been going. Yeah, this train's been going back to Martinez for a bit. Mike Jeffries is actually in shot now.
But previously Simmons was at the front of that kind of pack. So, and Dan Bach.
That's Dan Bach losing a spot to Benjamin Atimian, the amateur. The debutante.
Looks like this is just not a good match for the Porsches.
Checkered flag is out.
Yep.
Simeon Naku, I believe, has picked up the win.
Oh yeah, looks like it. Oh, it's such a shame that Martinez ended up falling back. Still holding on to respectable 9th place.
Very strong. Still amateur winner.
Tremendous comeback from Naku here. Spun at the very start of race 1.
Oh, you're right.
Coming back to the win.
Kept his cool, got himself up to 10th place.
Making a very last-minute pass attempt on Daniel Hernandez.
Oh.
And it's not going to happen.
No.
Oh, very close.
Here comes Ayrton Tobin.
Doug DeGroat.
Head of Doug DeGroat. Michael Magus. That is Wayne Medeiros in the background.
Medeiros doing a little shimmy.
Mauricio Delgado, and then Powell. Dave Picha. Looks like this is the battle for the last of the... Oh no, Toby Howard's still running. So there's a car behind these guys.
Burke and John Picha going at it. This is the last few corners. I don't foresee Picha being able to make it up on that.
Nah, I don't see it, especially given the complaints the AMGs have had about their ability to get out of corners. And there is the last man running, Toby Howard.
Going up past John Picha and there we go.
Three amigos!
Shout out to Three Amigos.
Bringing up the rear, but they're putting the points in.
It's a shame. Toby had a really strong start, but I think he just got caught up in one of those accidents we were hearing so much about.
There's your final results. Simeon Naku from Mike Stofmeel, Wesley Stokes, Moley, Richard Higgs, Wayne Hutchinson, Max Simmons, Gerardo Delvell. Your winner in the amateur class, Guillermo Martinez, and Mike Jeffries, your top 10. Rounding off the amateur podium, Benjamin Atamian, and a huge round of applause for Daniel Hernandez, an amateur podium.
Very fantastic.
Hold off former champion Paul Riccobeni to the line. Very nice. Much better race for Michael Magus. Comes up to 18th for round 2. And just kind of looking at the retirement area to see if I can maybe figure out who we lost. I don't know. Maybe I was just hallucinating that Martinez was back in 10th place, because there is nobody missing.
Looks like maybe you were hallucinating. That's
or
okay.
maybe he was in 10th before Riccobeni had his issues. That might be
I believe Martinez went up from 10th to 9th when Bach went off at one point.
Okay, perhaps Dan Bach then. Okay.
Meanwhile, Martinez is currently in 6th in our championship standings.
Yeah, quick rundown of the championship standings. This is pending penalties, which I know there are a couple have been given out already. I have been given the lap 1 summary from the steward, but he has not finished his review of the reported penalties, which I imagine he'll be working on shortly. Actually, once he gets off work. Those who are, of course, unaware, Mr. Marshal Joachim Humbigson is a man who works some odd hours, so his reviews take places at times you're not probably expecting to. Mike Stofmeel leading the way with 2 wins to his name. Moly in 2nd place. Good work by Mole. Wesley Stokes is 3rd. Paul Riccobeni 4th. Wayne Hutchinson, Guillermo Martinez, the top AM man. Richard Higgs, Luciano Chazzo, Dan Bach, and Ariel Zattoni, your top 10. Teams Championship, the lead has changed hands to MMR Land Motorsport, have overtaken the bad company for top honors. RRS Extreme had a really good round. They're up to 3rd ahead of Black Sheep Racing and Project Zora, who had a huge rebound after an absolutely disastrous time at Zolder, to the point where they had negative points in the sprint race.
I was looking at that.
VIP Racing, Cabrones, WBR, Overclock Racing, BMW Tango Team, and 3 Amigos, rounding off the 11-team championship. I will give you a rundown of the Amateur Cup once I have those standings in front of me.
Just wondering, did you mispronounce this, or is it mistaken in the table? No judgment, just wondering. Is Guillermo Martinez's team called Carbones or Cabrones?
I believe it's Cabrones.
Okay.
I don't know. Don't ask me Spanish questions.
I was just questioning. Just wondering. Just want to see if this spelling was correct. Like I said, no judgment. Just kind of curious.
The unreleased amateur standings, because obviously the amateur standings, I always wait for the penalties, because not meaning to degrade the amateur drivers, I am one of them, but we do tend to degrade them. We do tend to have a heavy amount of penalties. Guillermo Martinez, on the strength of 3 amateur victories, is currently number 1 ahead of Ayrton Tobin. Dave Walsh in 3rd place. What the hell's going on? Michael Magus in 4th, followed by Benjamin Atamian, who debuted here today with 2 second places. Rick Martel, Scott Greenfield, Zoltan Kalmondi, Guillermo Taylor, and Daniel Hernandez, your top 10.
Very respectable turnout for a lot of these guys.
It's been going quite well. We will, of course, see penalties coming up. I know that I'm getting one, and I'm not.
All right.
Maybe not super happy about the tier, but I respect the process.
Yeah.
And gentlemen, do you have any thoughts you want to add towards the end?
No, I think you got it. You think you got us pretty well. Race is at Imola, correct?
Next up, we got Imola. So we're going to Italy for our 3rd round of the championship. Staying with the European tracks. I think we're only going to leave Europe once, and that's for Dubai.
Well, I'm sure a number of the drivers will be happy to get away from these long straights. Imola doesn't really have any, so...
Yeah, Imola should be a fun race. We'll have to see what happens there. Have to see what happens there as we move on to the next round of the championship. Just a quick summary of what's coming up. We got the Academy race this Saturday, and we've also got Formula USA this Saturday. So get ready for that. Formula USA will be done live by myself and Mr. Byron Dirksen.
Nice. Sounds like a good time.
And the Academy is heating up as we have a number of new drivers joining it. Jack Simpson, welcome aboard. Elliot Barron, and I don't remember his name now, but it was like JP Jesse's or something like that, who has also joined in. So the growing Academy grid will be a lot of fun.
Races streamed and broadcast as well?
We do have the ability to broadcast select events, but generally speaking, the races are what I call canned commentary.
Our kind of standard procedure.
Absolutely.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Have a good night, everybody.